Dum da dum da 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 dum da dum da 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 da. Hello, welcome to Cooking with Mary. Today we're making butternut squash soup, and we're gonna have some toasted Brussels sprouts on the side. It's a wonderful fall dish because, as you know, not only are squashes in season, but Brussels sprouts are too. We want to start by preheating the oven to about 400 degrees. And this recipe also works with an acorn squash if you have that, if you like acorn squashes too, or if you get bored of the butternut squash. We will chop it in half, take out the seeds, and roast it for about an hour. Squashes are high in vitamin C and vitamin A, and they are also a good source of potassium and omega-3 fatty acids. I like red pepper flakes to add a little bit of spiciness, or you can do with the opposite, make it a little sweet and add a little bit of brown sugar to your brown sugar and cinnamon to your squash soup, because then it's like got that nice fall warm spicy taste to it. So this is our butternut squash. And we're gonna scoop out the seeds with a spoon. If you have a melon baller, you can use that too. Just place these right on the baking dish and put it in there on the lower third of the oven for 1 hour. Oh, this right here is my vegetable stock. It is not that concentrated because it was the first time I made it, but vegetable stock essentially is really easy to make. I will tell you how right now. You get some vegetables and you add water, put them all in a pot and boil it, and then simmer for the whole afternoon or an hour or whatever. After it's simmered for an hour or more, you strain it. So when you know you want to make vegetable stock, every time you do some cooking, save the little things like the ends of the onion or the peel of the onion, or the ends of the celery that you don't use in your cooking. Save those in a little Ziploc bag in the freezer or the fridge, and then add them when you're making your stock. You can also add onions, parsnips, parsley, carrots, celery, and salt and pepper. I personally don't make it with salt, or very little. I don't think we need that much salt in our diet, especially if we're trying to lose weight. Put it into some Tupperware, and you can store it in the fridge. There's my vegetable stock until you need it for a recipe later down the road. So now that we've added the squash into the oven, we are going to put in our Brussels sprouts. Get those going. Slice it in half, put it on a tray, a cooking sheet, with a little olive oil spray or a sunflower spray. And if you don't have a spray oil, just drizzle with a little oil, or toss it first in a bowl and then put it on the cooking sheet. In the same oven that your squash is in for 35 to 40 minutes, depending on how big your Brussels sprouts are. I like them to get a little toasty and crispy on the outside. Some people don't, but it's totally up to you. You can also season them with, your favorite spices. The squash just came out of the oven. It was about 50 minutes that it was in there. I'm going to have a dish towel ready since it's still pretty hot. The dish towel trick, I think I learned from my mom. You might need to pierce the flesh so that it can be scooped out easier, because the first layer is like a little bit hard from the oven. So just kind of peel around there and then start scooping out. I believe, like lots of other things, the skin of the squash has, a lot of nutrients, and I think it tastes delicious. It kind of like caramelizes in the oven, so I would eat it just like that while cooking. If you have a nice large blender, you can probably do the whole soup, all of the soup in one shot. If you don't, if your blender is smaller, you can do it in 2 batches, okay? From before, we have that vegetable stock that I was sort of just simmering and warming up, along with, I have half of an onion, so this is just shy of 2 cups. And we're going to add that to the butternut squash and puree it. In a restaurant, you would probably find butternut squash soup with more butter and probably a splash of cream. And you're welcome to do that at home. But here in Mary's kitchen, we do no such thing. We are going to add a little bit of almond milk, made from the best almond cows around. Good. Kidding. No, I am going to add some. Especially since we have that onion in there, making it all oniony. We want to add some almond milk to make it nice and mellow and sweet. Let's check on the consistency here. We've been blending for a minute or so. Ooh! It's really good. It's really good. So we've checked the consistency. It looks good. We're going to throw it back on the stove in a saucepan, and warm it up until it's your desired temperature. Our butternut squash soup is all warmed up. Let me show you how I serve it. There we go, in a bowl. Can you see? I've got 1 Brussels sprout. Chop it in half. Make it look nice and pretty, like separate some of the leaves. Boom and boom. And then, ideally this would be a couple of toasted pumpkin seeds, but I don't have those. We're just going to use, these are sunflower seeds. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And there is our butternut squash soup with toasted Brussels sprouts.